welcome to Halloween season, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ghouls and goblins of all ages, and welcome to the On the Slab Horror Show, the Shudder Halloween list, brought to you by yours truly, in the Dynamo Kelly. And that is exactly right. Today I am bringing you my Shudder list and what you need to watch on the fantastic app that is Shudder, the platform that brings you nothing but horror and the best of independent horror and classic horror. So, what I'm going to be doing throughout the whole month of Halloween is bringing you amazing content that is brought to you monthly by the great Shudder app. I'm picking out little bits and pieces that I personally like that I would like to offer you and let you, I suppose, digest um, what I feel is probably the best in new horror and old horror. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it up into segments over the course of the Halloween month of October. And I'm going to start today with something a little bit different because Shudder, if you're not familiar with the app, it is literally $4.99, $5.99 in some countries, depending on where you are. It is literally the best money you're going to spend on any platform across the board. If you want bang for your buck, this is the app for you. You can get it on your phone, you can get it on your tablet, you can get it on your laptop. It is absolutely phenomenal. There's some amazing podcasts, but like I say, today I'm going to focus on the documentaries. The reason I want to focus today on the documentaries is because it's something a little bit different. We always talk about horror movies, and we will digest the horror movies that Shudder has to offer. But today, I really want to focus on the documentaries because there is some amazing shows, and so I'm going to give you my top five for now. There is far more, and there's going to be a lot more coming up throughout the next 4 weeks. So I will obviously touch on them, and I'll probably do a top five film list as well on the next show. But I'm definitely going to be doing a film a week as well. But I'm going to give you my top five in no particular order. Documentaries that you must watch this month because documentaries really have become the new movie in a lot of ways. And we see it on Netflix, we see it on the Disney Plus app, we see it on Discovery Plus. Documentaries are something people really, really like to digest because you can watch it in stages. You can watch it in episodes, and it's something really, really cool. It brings nostalgia if you're watching documentaries about old school movies, behind the scenes footage, and stuff like that. And that's exactly where I'm going to start today. First on the list, directed by Mr. Thomas Hamilton. It's a 2021 documentary, which I think all of you old school horror fans and fans of the silver screen and the golden age of Hollywood will really appreciate this. It is, of course, old Frankenstein himself, Boris Karloff, the man behind the monster. So basically, this documentary is all about his illustrious 60-year career, all the roles that he undertook, some of the trials and tribulations that he faced, and of course his relationship with Bela Lugosi and stuff like that. There's some really cool cameos and appearances from his family and people that really knew the man behind the mask and behind the monster, if you will. So I highly recommend this documentary. This is the one for you. And number two in today's list is probably my favorite horror documentary of all time. Now, I'm going to say documentary, but I should really say documentaries because it comes in two parts. Anybody who knows me knows how much I love my 80s horror, and this is the absolute ultimate guide to 80s horror. If you're only dipping your toes in to 80s horror, if you are an 80s horror buff like myself, or if you're someone who goes in cold and doesn't know anything about 80s horror but knows, the big John Carpenter movies or, Wes Craven or whatever, this really is an outstanding documentary. The two parts are both about 3 hours long. So yeah, you can watch this one in stages, trust me. Or if it's a Friday night, because why do we watch this stuff on Friday night? Because it's horror night, um, and you do want to spend 3 hours sitting having a beer, having a pizza, kicking back, and getting yourself engulfed in classic horror. Then you can do that. Do whatever the hell you want to do. All I'm doing is bringing it to you. So the documentary is 2019 was the first one made. The second was 2020. In Search of Darkness, a journey into iconic 80s horror. Both directed by David A. Viner. Um, unbelievable cast in this. You know, this is the who's who of horror. John Carpenter, Tom Atkins, Wes Craven, Barbara Crampton, and there's even cameos from people like Chris Jericho and Corey Taylor. Absolutely everybody. This is an absolutely unbelievable two-parter. When I say it goes through the whole catalogue of 80s horror, from slasher, um, all the way through, it goes through absolutely everything. You're gonna learn about the movies that you love, but you're also gonna learn about the movies that you haven't even found yet and will love. So I highly recommend this documentary. 10 out of 10 for me. 10 slabs of meat. Absolutely phenomenal documentary, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. In Search of Darkness, a journey into iconic 80s horror. Watch it go. Number 3 on the list. There's 2 seasons of this. This was a 2020 documentary. Um, So basically, it has episodes based on a particular movie. This one, which makes it a little bit different, but really kind of cool. So it's done in the kind of old classic documentary format that people would be familiar with on Netflix more so than anywhere else. It's called Cursed Films. There's 2 seasons. The first season focuses on The Exorcist, The Omen, Poltergeist, The Crow, and Twilight Zone the movie. So it goes behind the scenes and talks about the real kind of, I suppose, issues and upsets and dramas and all that kind of stuff that happen behind the scenes on set. And I suppose it discusses some of those legendary, you know, I suppose, stories that we heard of people dying on set, or the crew. We lost 100 crew members, and it kind of goes through some of those urban myths, but also some of those actual hidden truths as well. So this one is really good. Season 2, again, you'll notice as well when I'm mentioning these movies, it's all based on classic movies. The Exorcist, The Omen, Poltergeist, The Crow, which we know obviously the great Brandon Lee passed away on. Twilight Zone the movie, if anyone hasn't seen that, check it out. But season 2 focuses on classic movies as well. Something in the air back in the day, I don't know. Shady Hollywood, maybe? I don't know. You be the judge. So season 2 focuses on the Wizard of Oz, and we all know there's lots and lots of kind of weird and creepy and strange stories um, that involve the Wizard of Oz and the making of that. We've all seen the famous video on YouTube of the the dwarf, the small person, whatever you're meant to say these days, kind of dangling from the tree. Whether that was true or not, who knows? But if you want to find out, check out this season. Rosemary's Baby is the second episode. Stalker, really interesting episode. I would definitely check that out. The Serpent and the Rainbow, one of the creepiest movies of all time. Check that out as well. And of course, Cannibal Holocaust. One of the most disturbing movies in horror history, without a shadow of a doubt. So, Cursed Films, 2 seasons. Check that out. Number 4 on the list, brand new documentary, 2022. The 101 scariest horror movie moments of all time. There's 3, no, let me see. Probably by the time this comes out, it's probably going to be complete, but if it's not, there's new episodes out every Wednesday. At the time of recording this, there's 3 episodes out. Really amazing, man. Just goes through all of the, like, it does exactly what it says in the title. 101 scariest horror movie moments of all time. Again, with an amazing cast of who's who of horror. Um, really well done, really well filmed, beautifully filmed. Show some great scenes and give stories behind the scenes and how they kind of made those moments, um, make it from an idea onto the big screen. So check that out. 101 scariest horror movie moments of all time, brand new Shudder exclusive. Another great one from this great app. And last but not least, because like I said, these are in no particular order. Number five on the list, a relatively new, it was last year documentary, the found footage phenomenon. This is going to really interest a lot of the modern horror fans, and I mean that with no disrespect. That would be a fan of the found footage movie. They've kind of become too a penny nowadays and too boring in a lot of senses. But at one point in time, the found footage horror really was, you know, the kind of the genre that brought horror back into the light, especially under the Blumhouse banner and stuff like that. So, um, that's it's really cool to go back in this documentary and see the origins um of where it all started, and what influenced the Blumhouse phenomenon that we've grown to love and become accustomed to. It's directed by Philip Escott and Sarah Appleton. Um, and basically, it just starts with the origins, like I mentioned, within the likes of Cannibal Holocaust. And then it kind of goes into the Blair Witch Project and the last broadcast, all through up to the Paranormal Activity series and Wreck, which were the ones that really kind of brought the modern found footage movie into the spotlight. And yeah, this is really really good. It's kind of, again, it's a modern documentary, but really shows, um I suppose, how they made it become so. There's a word we use in wrestling, um kayfabe, which you are all probably familiar with, and the work. Is it real or is it a work? This is how a lot of those old um, found footage movies started, because there was a lot of lore behind them. I remember being a young kid when the Blair Witch Project was coming out, and there was documentaries all across mainstream TV showing how this was a real story, and so it had people going into the cinema terrified. I'm sure a lot of you will remember that. So it's a really cool documentary, something a little bit different, and one that I highly recommend. So that has been your uh, your Shudder Halloween documentary list. As in my eyes, in my vision, on my list. So this is the Dynamo list. Please let me know in the comments whether you agree with any of the recommendations I've made. Let me know if you've watched them already, or if you haven't and you want to come back to this video a little bit later on. Let us know on Twitter, which you can find us at On the Slab Horror. Let us know on Instagram. Let us know on Facebook if you wish, or if you want to send us an email and you want to come on the show to talk about any of these documentaries or the movies that we do over the upcoming month of Samhain, then please do let us know. But this has been in the Dynamo Kellys on the Slab Horror Shudder Halloween list. Stay scared, stay hungry, but most of all, stay scared. It is Friday night. It is horror night. Over and out.